What is the worth of education? This is today's live on Equa Television International. And today we are going to be journeying through the topic education's worth. As always, I'm not alone. I have Sambo Solomon, Prudence Bruga, Engineer Tony will join us soon. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
How you doing?
You are good.
Doing great.
All right, we are live on Facebook and YouTube at Equa Television International. Our today's live community is also active. You can do well to drop your comments on what you think about education's worth. A lot of people have asked the question, what's the essence of education? I've also seen how that people say this person is behaving like an illiterate. I've also seen a situation where people tell you that, and he went to school and she went to school. And I'm just concerned, I'm worried. What is the worth of education?
He went to school. She went to school. She's still acting like an illiterate. He's still acting like an illiterate. I believe that those sentences or those phrases are being said because when that person went to school, the person decided not to learn. Because it's a simple thing. The worth of education cannot be underrated. And when I say the worth of education, I don't just mean classroom education. I don't mean that you go to the class and they begin to teach you about your history or arithmetic, all those things. They are important. Interestingly, those things actually, arithmetic, for instance, it actually triggers your articulation. It helps you think fast on your toes. It helps you broaden you open wider your brain. That it does that, and it helps you in how your problem solving skills actually. So it does really look like it doesn't matter. In fact, when I was still in secondary school, I literally told my teacher I don't see the point of doing mathematics. But then again, it did help me. Later on, you see that you want to calculate your finance and your 10 plus, 18 plus. You're already doing a calculation in your head from the top of your head. You don't even have to look for a calculator to do that. Those are simple arithmetic plus and minus that you can do. You know, we had situation mathematics where they were what do you call it, equations, quadratic equations, where they give you situations. Should this person have this and this is taking from that and find X and all that. You don't need to find X in real life, but in real life you need to solve problems. So it helps you to think. You're thinking, okay, so if I do it this way and I do it that way, I'll get the result at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, you're still doing arithmetic. You're doing a quadratic equation with your life. So basically, education has a way of broadening your horizon, what you're seeing, how you're thinking, how you're behaving. And classroom aside, if you are in a school environment, it teaches you how to relate with people. Because if you don't know how to relate with people, then you wouldn't listen to what your teacher has to say. Okay, if your teacher says, submit your assignments by so date and time, and if you don't do, there's repercussion. In real life, you do that. Your boss could say, bring this project for me at the end of today. And you have to bring it. If not, there's repercussion. Either your pay is being cut or something. So basically, school prepares you for the world outside. It prepares you for what you can possibly get when you go to the outside world. And it helps you in, as I said, communicating with people. You would be able to understand how if you're talking to this person and this person seems to be a bossy person, you know how to react to the person because your teachers practically were, some of them were really bossy. But you learn over time that I can adapt to this. If I can adapt to this, so tomorrow if I meet somebody like this person, I'll be able to relate with that person. I would understand how the person functions, and then I would give a befitting reaction. So basically, education the importance, the value, the worth of education cannot be underrated. That's the truth of the matter. Because if you don't go through education, if you are not learning constantly, There's a problem somewhere.
You know, a lot of times when you talk about education, people always think, oh, they relate it to classroom. You forget those moments that your grandparents will keep you, teach you some values. They tell you, no, you don't eat with this hand, you eat with that. No, you shouldn't be talking while eating. We easily forget all of those values, all of those social, cultural values that we learn. You learn that when you see older people, you greet them. You learn that even when you see your own peers, you greet them. You learn that when you see at home, your parents will tell you when you're done eating, you should take the plates to the kitchen. You shouldn't leave it there. Like, all these are education that we learn. And the truth is that just imagine a world without learning. Because when you talk about education, like acquiring of knowledge, it doesn't have to be just restricted to the four walls of schools. We can learn through experience. We can learn like when you have your parents teaching you about some social and cultural values. You can also learn even in the classroom as you relate with your peers. There are parents that are teachers, but they don't school their own children. They still take them to school. Why do they do that? Because beyond the board where 1+1 is being taught, the way and manner you relate with your other classmates, or it's also a process of learning. You know that, oh, when I just step on this person's toe without apologizing, he can be angry. Tomorrow when you step on somebody's toe, the first thing you do is apologize. So when you relate with people as well, you get to understand how they think, how they react to issues, and it's also a form of education. The worth of education cannot be underemphasized. It is so important that it should reflect in our everyday life. And no wonder some people will just look at certain people and say, oh, and he went to school, oh, and he claimed he's educated, because they are not seeing it in your attitude, the way you speak, the way you relate to people, the way you do things should naturally show that you are educated, whether you went through the four walls of the schools or you didn't. But as long as you grew up in a family, in a society, in a state, in a country, it is expected that you learn certain values. Some things are just common etiquette that is expected of you, that you should know. As long as you're human, you live amongst other people, you should know some of these things. But today we see people, adults, that don't have or don't even show any of these social or cultural values. Like, and you begin to wonder, like, well, is this person truly educated? And all of that. So the worth of education is really important.
It is very important. Well said. But you see, the problem is that, you see, we have knowledge, then we have wisdom. And when you talk about education, you talk about learning. It can be formal, it can be informal, well established. What's the essence? So many times we talked about principle of God, how God arranged things, how things should be. And then you talk about our elders, you talk about our grandparents, you talk about our peer group, and so on and so forth. It's a design of God. And in his design, he made everything in such a way that we are connected with each other. Connected with each other in the sense that nobody is an island. And that's the beauty of it. Just imagine you living alone in an island, just only you, and just imagine and picture how the life will look like. And we have grandparents, our parents, learn from their parent, us learning from our parent, and also from our grandparents, sitting us down, giving us all those lifetime lessons, those stories. You understand. And then after telling you the story of tortoise and these, and at the end of the day they ask you, what did you learn from this? Because they are trying to inculcate morals into you tell you this is how life is.
And you know, most of those tales
Yeah.
comes with songs.
Yeah.
So you don't forget all of that, and it used to be a very good, like it used to be a good time, memorable, I tell you, because today you can still reflect on those stories and even the morals, and it's expected that you reflect it in your life and as you relate with other people as well.
And you see, learning is progressional. You know, you keep learning every day until you take the last breath. And it depends on the kind of mind that you're coming with. You know, some people, like you rightly said, when you would just sit down and then look at some people, I'll be like, so you mean this person went through school? So you mean this person travel this far? Like, you start wondering. It's because, you know, people decide to learn and then choose what to learn and then how. And that's why you find out some people will just lock up their mind to the only things that to the things that they believe, and they feel that's enough. So far I went to school, so far this is what I learned from home, and that is just it. They don't care how you live your life. So what am I trying to say? Their artificial intelligence is being locked, so they don't care what happens around them. Because if you open your emotional, your artificial intelligence, that's when you will know where is Joyce coming from. How do they behave there? What's their culture? You know, people from this country, how do they behave? You begin to bring all those together, and then you find yourself in their midst, and then you begin to narrow your belief, narrow how you relate with them, so that both of you, you know, will find a way that you will live together. And if we don't open our mind thinking what we get, that's the reason why you find out you'll be thinking you've gotten enough, and then just of a sudden you are meeting with somebody and you begin to feel like you have not started yet. That's just it. And from there, to some, it will help them to kick up, to open their mind and to start learning again. And to some, they will just feel, oh, I've reached my threshold, so I don't think I can move from here, because the level of intelligence I'm seeing from Prudence and articulation and this, I'll just feel like no. But you see the issue of open mind that I talk. When you have an open mind, that's when you will say, okay, how can I improve? And then you start looking for help. Joyce, can you help me in this area? I think I'm weak in this. Can you put me through? I just want to see how I will meet up, because of how Prudence is doing or how this person is doing and the rest. So it is very important for us, you know, to see education as how will I put it? Like a key to our day-to-day living. So you have to open your mind, because it is something that you will do daily until you take the last breath.
Yeah, and what you're saying is really true. There's something that education does, and I think we really underrate it a lot. It gives you confidence. It boosts your confidence. If you are educated, or you have gotten to a certain level of education and you're exposed, there's a way you approach people, or there's a character or there's an element that you begin to exhibit in front of people. It's like you would not easily lack what to say when being called upon, because you have been educated to a certain point. If you find yourself in a group of people, you would not just become a lone soldier or something. You could easily what do they call it, this word, you could easily adapt to the environment that you're finding yourself. It builds your emotional intelligence, it builds your psychological intelligence, your cultural intelligence. It builds all that. You were saying earlier, you'll be able to know that, okay, Solomon is from this place, so this is how they behave, this is how I should react to how he's behaving, this is how I should adapt to what his behavior is, so that we would have a cordial relationship and we'll have a peaceful stay. Education the value of education cannot be underrated, cannot be overemphasized, because education is like the one thing that continues till the day you breathe your last. He said that it's something that you do for your whole stay here on earth. But what okay, I was just going to say this. We were just talking with a friend one time, and because I was learning a side craft, and I was like, when I'm done learning this side craft, people will not see air to breathe. And he's like, so when you are done learning this side craft, I would not patronize you. It took me a moment to understand what he said. It was like, oh, so that means I don't ever stop learning. So even if I think I've reached a milestone, I still have to open my mind to continue learning. I can't stop learning. That's what education is. You keep on learning. You keep on learning. There's no stop for education. You can't say, oh, I finished learning. In this whole life, you can't say that you finished learning. There are certain situations that you don't find that early in life you don't find yourself in, but later on in life you find yourself in such situations, and you have to learn something from it. You have to pick out something from it. I would like to do this now. Okay, so imagine that you are in a situation, and someone has an aggressive way of of approach. He's just, let's say for instance, it's just me and Solomon. I did something to him and he's angry, and he just becomes very aggressive. A learned person would do this, and what you would do is that you would apologize. But someone who hasn't opened his mind to learning would probably react negatively.
You know, one of the worth of education is the fact that it allows you to learn abilities, skills, attitudes, behaviors, and all of that. And as you learn it helps you to better relate with people in the society. Like you gave an example of somebody responding aggressively. When you have that education, when you have that knowledge, it helps you to put yourself in that person's position. What made this person behaved in this manner before you respond to the issue? But when you don't think before you respond, then you find yourself just responding harshly or negatively. I would like us to just take the thought of the week before we continue with the conversation on the worth of education. Stay with us as we take the thought for the week.
We often get into trouble when we react without knowing and understanding the facts.
Education goes beyond shaping us as individuals and enhancing our perspectives. It can help you become a better citizen and build a better society.
Don't be pushed around by the fears in your mind. Be pushed by the dreams in your heart.
Thank you for staying with us. That was the thoughts for the week. And engineer Tony J. Nakali is right here. As I promised you, he's going to join us, and he did join us. You're welcome.
So you promised them. I didn't ask you to promise anybody. You made promise on my
Thank
behalf.
God.
I'm happy to be here. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's life.
Good to have you.
As always.
All right, we're talking about the worth of education. Like,
why shouldn't I just sit down and watch you talk?
yeah, able and capable. You know, earlier when we were talking about the worth of education, we said education in its entirety is not restricted to the four walls of school or
Oh,
classroom.
you finally agreed to that point.
I've always
No,
known
we
that
had a debate on this show.
education is not about
We had a
the
debate
four
on this show.
skills or ability.
You even talked about one of your lecturer, Rupangomna. that said-
yeah.
Okay. How are you, Joyce?
I'm fine.
With your little Today's Life t-shirt. Prudence. Pretty as always. You are chopping knuckle as if you want to blow person.
So we said earlier, education is not restricted to the classroom. There are people that
Exactly.
think that, oh, you have to go to the university, you have to go to,
Exactly.
you have before you are educated. There are people that measure education with all of the paper qualification, and no wonder at the end of the day, you see some people in the society, yet you see people that someone will say, well, you're sure that person owns that certificate because his character, his attitude does not even speak well. We even have people with those qualification that went through the four walls, yet they can't prove the worth of being in the classroom and all of that. Yet there are other people that did not even attend the conventional school, but through experience, like we see in people that learn skills like the mechanics, the tellers, the all of that, we see them expressing, showing their skills, their ability, and all of that. So we establish it's not just about the four walls as is part of it, but experience is one of it. Social values, like we see in the days of old, how our parents would sit us down, tell us stories. At the end of the day, it always comes out with morals that will help you in relating with people, in responding to issues. Education is about acquiring skills, attitude, values, and all of that. So just to get your take on the worth of education.
Discretion of a particular person should be allowed as to whether he wants to go to the formal kind of classroom, take classes, or he wants to be on the street with the spanner, screwdrivers, and all that. At the end of the day, we all need each other. The professor who has gotten to the pinnacle of education, and the man who he sees at the total abasement, he would need that man to fix his car one day. You know, you see, there's no... Education is not classroom. Education is basically knowledge. Where you go and acquire knowledge, regardless of whether it is rumpa, or it is four walls, or it is a bacha, or it is a tent, or it is... This is education. We're dishing out education right now. We're dishing out knowledge. And then people can learn however they please, however they want to learn it. So if you restrict education to the four walls of classroom, certain people want to go. Certain people actually crave to be there. But you know the fear? That tuition. The fees. Someone prefers to, just catch a chicken, give to a vulcanizer and say, please teach my son how to pump tire. And the son will grow up to have 2 or 3 different branches of vulcanizing. And then someone says, please teach my son how to repair the cars. And then before you know it, he's learning even how to diagnose cars. Education is not... We should not limit education to a chalkboard and a desk. No, we shouldn't limit education to that. And unfortunately today, when you don't have that kind of education, you are not considered an educated person in the society. But it shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so. People who run the world today are not half as educated as you are in terms of a college degree, in terms of certificates, in terms of... No, they just sat down and said, okay, if this works this way, then it can meet XYZ needs. How much are we buying gas in Nigeria? Fuel. It's about 600. If we have solar powered vehicles, would we bother? We would not be bothered about vehicles that are gasoline driven. If we have battery driven cars like Tesla and electric cars, they call them. If we have all these cars, nobody is bothered about going to the gas station, get gas for your car and all of that. These are certain kinds of knowledge that people felt, if I bring this technology or this knowledge in the form of XYZ technology, it will meet the needs of at least 30% of the people in the world. Now multiply that 30% of the people in the world by $1 and see how rich that person is. Now, how do you multiply wealth that you get from school? It's not what you get in school that makes you wealthy. It is your ability to use it to meet the needs of the people that makes you wealthy. So when we're talking about education, man, we're not talking about GSS Jos, where I went to, that now the school is even, I don't even know what it is. People are living there. I'm sure they have given birth to so many children in my classroom, and maybe my principal's office. But I heard that place is still a center. I heard that place is still a center. So if you check it, I gave you an analysis one time when I was joking with you when I came on the show as early as I did. I was giving you an analysis of the last time we had a show. It was almost like a debate between you and your counterpart, you and your lovely colleague, and me and my beautiful, pretty, brilliant sister, where we had a debate about classroom versus what was it again? Education and skills. That's true. Sometimes you can be bright, Joyce. Thank you for remembering. Education and skills. Nobody loves you in Equa TV like I do. So I know some people are angry right now. Gang. but I was just joking. But Joyce, think about it. The phones that we use have evolved. The cars that we use have evolved. The clothes, even the style, everything, the things we use basically have evolved. But the education, the system is globally. I'm not just saying in Nigeria, globally. And people fight the means with which these days I've been receiving a lot of notifications on online. How you can be here, school there, get your degree within these years, get your days within these years. They are quite pricey, but then if you get that and bring to Nigeria, they will tell you, it's a scam. They can't employ you with that. Not minding your abilities. Go to the banks right now and see. People who study pharmaceutical engineering, if there's anything like that, they are working in the bank. People who studied petroleum, chemical, whatever, they are working in the bank. Look at is what you have and what you can offer against what you learned. Most of the people who are self-taught today are the people ruling the world. We don't know about Dangote's qualification, but they keep telling us he's the richest man in Africa. Until recently, when someone else emerged, I don't know how true that is, though. But look at the richest man in the world. Look at the richest men in the world. You will not find them saying this has a BSc or MSc or this or that in this field or this field. No. This man became innovative in this area. It made him the wealthiest man in the world. Most of them even hung out of school. They hung up and left school. Because the educational system is characterized by is the memorization of information. What you are taught, the same thing our children are being taught. The same thing our grandchildren will be taught. The same thing our parents were taught. Their parents were taught the same thing. Our grandparents, their grandparents. Everybody was taught the same thing in school.
I think the bottom line there, looking at education's worth, is being a solution. Bringing solution to the table. Like, there are a lot of challenges, there are a lot of problems. Your ability to bring solution, to solve problems, that stands you out. How do you deal with people? How do you relate with people? Is education that will make you know that, yes, even though you have attained that height in terms of your academic qualification, being a professor, you know that you need the roadside mechanic to still fix your car. But that some people will have all of that qualification and who do you think you are? You cannot even stand where I'm standing. Do you know how many books I've read? Do you know how many research I've done? As important as that is.
Anything that you cannot bring for people to benefit from, you are not educated, you are an illiterate. Because some people just keep gulping knowledge for themselves. Somebody tells you that he's done this, he's done that, he's a professor, but he wants to study this, he wants to venture into this, he wants to do into that. If that is not translated, basically education is for you to be innovative with what people can benefit from. So if you are not able to bring that out, your education is wasted. Your education is wasted. And the educational system is noticing that now. Little wonder they are frustrating people that are self-taught or their inventions.
They are also introducing subjects or courses.
They are even killing, Joyce, they are killing people who come up with things that government are making money from. How many people have come with remedy for AIDS? Where are they today? I know someone who told me, a professor told me that man that is dead, his uncle, was his uncle. People prefer to do stuff like somebody will tell you, government, I have solution. You don't have to spend XYZ amount of money. Why are we not using electric cars in Nigeria? What's the reason? How many states do we have? 36. With the FCT, right? All right. You have the federal government. How many ministers do we have? How many boards do we have? How many parastatals do we have? So close your eyes and imagine the number of official cars in this country. So think about the gas they consume. Just because we produce something does not mean we have to patronize it if it's at the detriment of our economy. Why won't we use electric cars? Why won't we? There was one time I was traveling from a state to a state. I saw what do you call it now? A solar panel farm. I drove like 2 hours 30 minutes within the farm. They create batteries for cars that are into electric cars and solar panel cars and all of that. It was like 2.5 hours journey within that same farm. We have the sun in Africa, in Nigeria, even Jos, that can be so cold. It gets sunny during the day. Why are we not talking about that? Because government wants to spend that money. Do you know the cost of running government in Nigeria? A governor has a convoy of about 20-25 vehicles. The minister, the president, everybody. How many guns follow them? How many bullets? How many rifles? How many this? How many that? It's expensive. These people are paid daily. So if we start looking at people who are educated that can bring succor to such spending, and government will imbibe it, we'll start spending less on things that don't matter.
There's always this set of people that will be like, oh, so if we adopt this system, what happens to the thousands of people will be unemployed? And it's more like people are not willing to grow. Like they are not willing to adapt to change.
When you don't know anything, I'm sorry I keep cursing in through. I'm just trying to pay for the time that I missed from the first 30 minutes. When you don't think further than your shadow, you think that way. Do you know that, Joyce, you can own a charging point from Jos to Abuja? You can own 3 charging points if you have electric cars. Even if they are solar powered. Someone can park. You can open a cafe with a charging point. Someone can park. It's not expensive. It's not as expensive as having a filling station. So why won't you start thinking, instead of me now working in the gas station? Some people take 10,000 a month. Some people take 15,000. Now I need to own the power station. It's just like this POS business. When it started, people were thinking, it's for the rich. Look at now, some graduates, they don't even care about work now. That POS business is sorting them out. I was with a lady who was explaining to a member of House of Rep how the POS business works. I was like, wow, can I have your number? She said, yes, she gave it to me. And I'm planning. Joyce, your payment is on real time. I didn't know that. So once you slot in that card to the machine and they pay you from these charges that they take, the owner gets his, the company gets theirs, you get yours. automatically. You don't wait till the end of month. They say let's calculate it, then they pay. No, as it is going, you are getting your money. If you have 50 of these machines or 100, some people thousands of them across the country, how much is one? Some companies are willing to give you for free, and then as you work, they deduct the money till the money is completely out. What are we saying? Do you have to? We just have this this mentality or this notion that you have to suffer to make money, to enjoy spending it. No. There are people at home. Now imagine like Dangote, for instance. I don't know how he sees his alert. I don't know. Just imagine. Like people who do business that you patronize online. 100 naira, 50 naira, 1,000, 200, all of this kind of monies. Joyce, what kind of alert do they see?
Well, I think that this all boils down to what you mentioned earlier.
Who in the university will teach you how POS works?
I think it all boils down to what you mentioned earlier, sir. Sorry to cut you on that, but
You're
you
trying
said no,
help
no,
Joyce.
no. You actually said that they're frustrating anything that would make them not get what they're getting.
Or
And that's
make
the truth of
education look less relevant.
Yes. So they are basically frustrating it. So in the beginning of what education is, it is that you're learning and you are using it. So that's what education is. They teach you basic elementary. They take you through basic elementary school just so you can begin to create a form of behavior that is acceptable to the community and effective to the community. But right now we find that these things are being frustrated. You would find that even if a child shows a glimpse of being innovative, they try to kill it before you reach the secondary school. So at the end of the day, by the time you are reaching the tertiary institution, you're beginning to think that cheating your way out is the best option you can have. Or you're finding that you don't really need to work for something. You don't need to use your brain to think for something because you can just use bypass means and work. And when you end up doing that, you feel like you're accomplished and on top of the world because that's how they have made it. And so whatever innovation you're coming with, whatever new thoughts that you're bringing in, it is not welcome. Nobody wants to welcome any innovation that would cut down what they're gaining. They just want to continue gaining and pocketing for themselves, and you, the masses, not being educated. And we keep on going to the streets singing songs like "School Na Scam" and all that, and we don't know how detrimental what we are doing is causing. And when I say school na scam, I'm not meaning like the basic classroom education. I meant like relating with people, how you can learn. Okay, so they're taking you to school. I studied mass communication, and for me, coming into the broadcasts business was a little bit easier because I had a certificate. Education basically is supposed to give you an edge over the person that just learns, but we are not even using that. So we have already belittled education, whatever it is, whatever form of learning. It's better I just cheat my way and get what I need than for me to actually use my knowledge, what I've learned over time, use my wisdom to be able to do something that will be impactful to my community.
I think the problem, Prudence, is the priority that we give to the paper qualification to even the skill.
Yes.
I have a younger brother that is very good at art and craft. But most times when you go to our secondary school, primary school, you hardly see a well-equipped like art class and all of that. But at the end of the term, every day you see first position, third position is being awarded. Like we give priority to that, and people memorize so well that they strive for that first position, second. And those people that have skills, abilities, they don't have the platform to explore. Most times he comes home and say, can I have this? Can I have that so that I can? And then at some point when he's in the school and he doesn't have the support, because people tell you, don't go and read, you're busy drawing and all of that. He had to, at some point, he just lost interest in that, because when he's in school, he's been encouraged, carry your book, go and read. There's that person that is good with, let's say, speech presentation and all of that. They emphasize, see, can you just go and read your book? The emphasis, the priority more is on the certificate. And no wonder today people, why are we having 40% unemployed people in Nigeria? Because at the end of the day, you get the certificate, there's no skill, and there's no place to, if nobody is ready and willing to even employ you without skills. No wonder today, even our conventional institution, they're trying to introduce courses like entrepreneurship and other courses that will aid you, that will make you
see the light of day. See, they don't really mean to introduce them. They had to bring it in the curriculum because it must be a criteria. If not, they will lose their place. And go and check. They will never give it the same priority they give to medicine. They won't give it the same priority they give to all the arts and the social. So under what? Business and what?
General education.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Because Joyce, Prudence said something. People cheat their way through school. They never wanted to go to the school. Those who saw education as something worth dying for, they are the ones coming out with the flying colors in real sense. If it's that important, if education is that important, how come they are selling certificates? If it's that important, how come they are selling certificates? They know, sir. They know. Just like she said that school is a scam. I don't want to say it so that ECWA will not endorse school as a scam. But they know. You see, go to Bingham University and see how we teach. I don't know about other universities, but go to our own university and see. It's different. You cannot have an Android phone in that university. A lot of things have been, because if you notice that the system is built upon the memorization of information, then you will know that anything you ask Google, you are just an axe away. Anything you ask Alexa, she tells you. If you punch Siri, Siri tells you, okay, my phone is not here, before Siri will do prim. Anything you ask Siri, Siri will tell you. Do you know I stumbled across an application that someone sent to me. He said, try this, from the US. I did, and I saw the cost. It was very expensive. But I Googled how it worked, and I won't say it on TV. If you have a project in school that you want to do, just type the name and type the quantum of that project and go and sleep. It will give you everything. You can copy it and give the lecturer, who is not as educated as you are, and he will pass you. Why? Because the system is built upon memorization of information. Were you taught ABC to Z? Were you taught 1 + 1, algebra, arithmetic, mathematics, further maths? What is different? Your father was taught the same thing. His grandparents were taught the same. His great-grandparents were taught. Our children, your children are learning the same thing. Their children will learn the same thing. Their children's children will learn the same thing. I know somebody is watching right now and getting angry because we're exposing, that education is not this and that and this and that. Okay. You see, honestly, if we're talking about, we are not saying people should not go to school, but we are saying go to school and be useful when you are done. Okay, how many parents will call a DJ and say, please, my son has a doctorate. Please, we want him to learn DJ work from you. He has a what? He has a PhD. We want him to learn DJ work from you. I don't see such parents in Africa. Rather, I see the ones cursing out on their children who wants to be DJ at the end of education. But guess what, Joyce? Your parents are calling their friends that are in NNPC They are calling their friends that are in Chevron Shell. They are calling their friends that are in foreign affairs. They are calling their friends that are in federal government. They are calling their friends that are highly placed to get you a slot in these highly placed places. Just so that you can earn 200,000-300,000 every month. But if your parents are aware that if you are street taught, you can earn 5 to 10 million monthly, they wouldn't look in that direction. It's not every rich human being. That's why we call them scammers. We call them all these names. But it's not every rich human being that is getting his or his means are illegal. It's not. A lot of people have money. They don't know what to do with it. Look at the musicians in Nigeria now. One of them just bought a $600,000 car, the first in Africa, Mercedes Maybach. The president of this country doesn't have it. If it's called the first in Africa. Guess what, Joyce? He shipped the car by air to Nigeria. The car did not follow sea or anything, no. He flew the car to Nigeria, a musician. $600,000. Do you know what? Joyce, is not education. His father cursed him against if his father had arrested him alongside boys in the studio before. I heard him say that on a radio interview. But how many schools do we have that can teach you music in Nigeria that can give you that much money? We don't have. We do not have. The guy is street taught. We are not disregarding school, but how many bank owners in Africa have Mercedes Maybach? A car of 600,000. For you to buy that car, you know what's left in your account. I want governors to start thinking. Should the Federal Reserve dry up? Should the excess crude oil money dry up? Should the federal allocation dry up? Should all of these federal government sources of wealth or income to your state dry up? How many people want to be governors? If they say that as a governor, you have to raise every money you will spend and you are not allowed to borrow, how many people will spend money to contest to become governors? We talk about digital economy. No governor is willing to exploit. At least we have not seen anyone that has made $1 trillion. We would have known. But young people with their laptops and their phones, they're exploring it every day. And then you are forced. When you see people with hair like mine, that doesn't look too... You arrest them and say, this one must be a Yahoo boy. Do you know why my hair is looking this way? No, maybe I just got an alert and I forgot to. Joyce, there are young boys in this country. They make at least 2 to 5 million every month. And they are quiet. They are not even on social media. Why? They are busy making much more money. There are families that the young lads in their family are taking care of them. And this is an encouragement to parents. If your child comes with something very important, we just came in from Kaduna, and I remember Solo and Hassan will remember there was a young chap. That boy should be like 9 or 10. He kept following us with his laptop that he wants to be a DJ. He told me that he's going to be the best. He started listing out the names of DJs in this world, that he wants to be better than them. He has a laptop. I don't know how he got it. He should be like 8 or 9. That boy should be like 8 or 9.
8. And I asked him, I say, is he in school? He said, yes. I say, what do you want to become,
when he grows up?
After graduating. And he said he wants to be a software engineer. But he wants to concentrate still on his DJ work.
So you see, some parents will say, if I hear one sound from that laptop, I'll kill you. There is a DJ in Nigeria, DJ Jimmy Jat. I saw his daughter. I watched it on his Instagram. His daughter graduated from, I think, Oxford University. Do you know Oxford is not in Africa? You know, right? It's not even Nigeria. It's not in Africa. She graduated. The school fees was paid by him. DJ. Look at all of these guys that are into all of these things. You would think that, no, what is this boy doing, wasting his time on stage? Encourage them.
And
Encourage them.
We need to see education beyond the four walls. You can learn. There are people that are self-taught. Like a lot of young people today, people are self-taught. So we should not restrict it. Oh, you must. After you must. It has to be the four walls of. There are other educations that you can learn outside the four walls of school. As important as education is, the value should be seen in your impact in the world. You should be able to provide solution. When you gather all the certificate, all the qualification, you reach the top of the ladder, and you don't bring any solution, then your education is as useless as anything. So you should be able to provide solution. You should be able to leave the world a better place. And you don't have any right to look down on anybody because you think, oh, you went through the four walls, the other person learned on his own or learned on the streets. No. As far as he's providing a solution, he's adding value, he is actually educated. In our attitude, in our experience as we relate to people, let us show that we have received some form of education. I think it's going to help a lot.
I think that the major thing we need to focus on is that we are value oriented. Whether you're going to school, and when I say school, that's basic school, elementary school, secondary school, whatever you're doing, learn, think to be value oriented. As a parent, teach your children to be value oriented. Let me know that I want to make an impact. On one of the shows that we have on Equa Television, I think that she should be the living room. One of the resource persons said that she allows her children to go out and do menial jobs. That doesn't mean she can't pay for them to do what they to go through school. No, they go through school, but when they come home for vacation, she allows them to go out, do menial jobs, do whatever you have interest in doing. Do you want to run a business? Start from now. From primary school, she gives you a little bit. Do this. Let me see how you're going to turn it. Let's see how it is going to come out. And she allows them to do those things. And at the end of the day, people are looking at her and thinking that she is allowing her children to suffer. But in essence, she's helping her children, because later on, these people are those who will make impact. And that's how we are supposed to live our lives. Education is not about the four walls of school. We've been saying it on this show more than countless times. And the four walls is just, in fact, for some people, those four walls are actually a boundary. It's actually a wall that is stopping you from exploring. But no, break free from the walls. If you're sent to a school, it's not just about you learning what goes on in classroom, A plus A and B plus this is this and that. No, that's not what it is. It is about you getting values that you would be able to give back to the society.
Try and create value wherever you find yourself. I think that's the essence of education, whether formal or informal. I think that is what is key. Let's do away with this this mentality of memorization, because everybody have the ability to memorize if given the time. He can memorize anything, and then memory.
When they have the ability. I had a friend that I held a textbook for her. She was reading almost like, I looked at her and said, I cannot do this.
The reason why I said that.
I don't even think there is formal and informal education. Which one is informal?
Outside
The one you learn
classroom.
Outside the class.
They are all formal. It's government that will tell you that one is informal.
There shouldn't be an end to education.
To learning,
That's
yeah.
how it is. Because that's the design of God. That's where you learn from people that are ahead of you. That's why we find mentors. That's why we find teachers. That's why we find pastors that teach us. You understand? So that's God's plan. So let's open our mind to learning and making impact.
Exactly.
It's good to learn, have knowledge, and then use your wisdom to solve issues.
Okay. All right. So I think that's about what we can take. Thank
You
you
ask
for.
me if I have
In
any-
case you still have something to say.
I'm angry.
Okay. You're angry, so we should not close the show. All right. I'm sorry. I apologize. I really am sorry. Okay, thank you. All right, so this is about the much we can take on today's live this beautiful morning, and really, I was enjoying myself. I don't even want to stop, but we need to go. Our time is well far spent. So I hope that you had a swell time with us and that you pick something that is really of importance. Education is not just about the four walls of the school, but education is about what you learn and use. Thank you for staying tuned to today's live this beautiful morning. I do hope that you have a nice, lovely, wonderful day ahead of you. Thank you, Eco Executive, for giving us this opportunity. Thank you, everyone, for staying tuned. Bye. See you next time.